I'm going to do something a little different with you because I have to. So we're going to start this one. Can you see from here? Okay. I am going to have you close your eyes for a second. A couple deep breaths. I want you to imagine yourself back in time, maybe 100 years ago, when maybe there were no cars, no TV, and you're living in a much smaller place than Ben. There's maybe not so many people in your village. You live actually near the woods. This story actually started from a place in Europe. I think it's around Germany. You know where that is? And I want you to think about what it would be like to have to walk to wherever you're going to go, or maybe you have to take a horse. And yeah, there's no TV, no video games. I want you to really picture yourself in that place. Now, if you're ready, open your eyes. And I am using something today to help you tell my story. I'm using this. You guys ever seen something like this?
Yeah.
Okay, if you know, don't say, well, Goldilocks is a great guess, except this person is wearing
Red Riding Hood. Oh.
So this is a story that actually comes from some stories that were very, very popular. And it is the story of a little girl who was loved by everyone in her village. She was just one of the favorites. And she was the very, very favorite of her grandmother. So one day her grandmother made her a cloak with a hood. And the little girl loved it so much she wore it every day. And people started calling her Little Red or Little Red Riding Hood. So one morning, when Little Red woke up, her mother said, Little Red, will you go and visit your grandmother? She's not feeling very well. And I baked her some bread, and I have her favorite bottle of wine. Grandmother likes this kind of. And I made some very special tea, too, for her. Take it in this basket. I'm going to send you through the woods to her house. You've never gone by yourself before. I have to stay home today. Can you do that? And Little Red said, oh, yes, I can. Remember, her mother said, you need to stay on the path. Do not wander into the woods. Go straight to grandmother's house. You know, you have to go through the path and then over the hill and down. And don't talk to any strangers. Do you think you can do that? It would be so helpful if you could do that. And Little Red said, oh, God, yes, I'm ready to do that. Don't wander off the path. You might fall down the rocks. Spill the basket and break the bottle, and then what good would that do you, Grandma? Red said, I can do that, Mom. I will. So she sent Little Red off, down on the path through the woods. She skipped along with her basket of goodies. Oh, better slow down, she said. I don't want to slow down. And about halfway down the path, she met somebody. Someone had been watching her through the trees. It was a very, very wise, cunning, clever wolf. Now, Little Red had never been in the woods before by herself. She didn't recognize this wolf. He came over to her and he said, well, good morning, how are you today? And she said, well, good morning. And he said, well, who might you be? I don't know you. She said, well, I'm Little Red Riding Hood. And what are you doing this morning, Little Red Riding Hood? She said, well, I'm going to visit my grandmother. She's not feeling very well. We bought her some bread and some wine and some tea. And then she said, oh, I'm supposed to talk to strangers. And the wolf said, well, you know, I'm not a stranger. I think I might know your grandmother. Where does she live, Little Red? And she said, well, she lives over the hill and down in the house near the 3 trees. And the wolf said, I know exactly where your grandmother lives. I'm friends with her. Oh, Little Red said, oh, well, that's real. And he he said, you know, I think your grandmother would really love some flowers to cheer her up if she's not feeling well. Look at all these beautiful flowers that are growing by the side of the path. Little Red Riding Hood said, of course, she would. Oh, they are so beautiful. I'll just pick a few here. And then I'll just pick a few here. She started wandering off the path. I'll pick a few here. This huge bunch full of flowers. Well, while she was busy picking flowers, the wolf snuck away. At one point, Little Red turned around to say, thank you for the idea of the flowers. And her new friend was gone. Oh, well, she thought. She kept gathering more. While she was gathering flowers, the wolf, the sneaky wolf that he was, took the shortcut. He knew exactly where the house with the 3 trees was. He didn't know Grandma, but he knew now because Little Red told him. He walked up to the door and he knocked on the door. A voice from inside said, "What is it?" Because Grandma wasn't feeling. And the wolf said, "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood." Oh, Grandma said, "I'm not feeling very well, my dear. You must just lift the latch and come on in." So the wolf lifted the latch, opened the door, closed it, went right over to Grandma. Before she could even say anything, he swallowed her in one gulp. And then he thought, oh, that was such a tasty meal, but I'm thinking that Little Red Riding Hood would be a delicious dessert. So he took off Grandma's hat, put it on himself, took her nightgown off and put it on himself, and he climbed into her bed to wait for Little Red Riding Hood. Well, back in the forest, Little Red Riding Hood had realized, oh my goodness, I have wandered off the path. I'm not supposed to. I better get to Grandma. I don't want to get in trouble. So she ran as fast as she could, as carefully holding her flowers in her basket, to Grandmother's house. Whew, she got there. She went to the door. She knocked. And she heard, I thought, oh my gosh, Grandmother must feel really, really sick, because that does not sound like her at all. She said, well, it's me. It's Little Red Riding Hood. Grandma, I've come to bring you some things to make you feel better. And I have a surprise, too. And the voice inside said, just lift the latch. Come on in. So Little Red lifted the latch and opened the door and wandered into the house. Here she is. Now, whenever she had been in Grandma's house before, it was always such a pleasant place to be. But for some reason today, she felt a little nervous. She thought to herself, that's strange. Maybe it's because Grandma's sick. But things don't feel quite right in the house today. A voice came from the bed. She saw her grandma lying in bed. And the voice said, come closer, my dear. I'm not feeling very well. So Little Red got closer to the bed. And as she did, she was surprised to see her grandmother looking a little different than she normally did. She said, and if you know this part, you can help me. She said, Grandma, what big eyes you have. And what did Grandma say? All the better to see you with. Little Red said, Grandma, what big
ears you have.
What big ears you have. And Grandma said, all the better to hear you with. And Little Red looked at Grandma's arm. She goes, Grandma, what big arms you have. And what did Grandma say? Do you know?
All the better for hugging.
All the better for hugging and holding you tight. And Grandma, actually the wolf, had Red Riding Hood in a hug. And as she did that, Little Red said, Grandma, what great big teeth you have. And the wolf said, all the better to eat you with. And ate Little Red in one